When we talk about English education, a familiar image comes to mind. Oxford, Cambridge, Gothic arches, robes, students with a book in one hand and a Latin speech in the other. But is that all? What about London? Why, being the capital of everything, politics, economics, art, has it been in a supporting role in education for so long? Yes, every student knows about Oxford and Cambridge, but what universities is London known for? Ask your English teacher, maybe she can help, or maybe ask your parents. It's not that simple, right? My name is Egor Yeremeev, you're watching Smaps TV, where we tell the story of international education and make studying abroad more accessible, closer and easier to understand. I'm starting a series of episodes about English education and I'm in my studio now, but in order to prepare all this material, I had to travel around England quite a bit. The bicycle is here for a reason. Several episodes will be from Cambridge, and Cambridge, as we know, is the main cycling city in the UK. And while we haven't yet begun the battle for world domination between London, Oxford and Cambridge, I suggest we take a look at one place in London where you can get lost in books and facts forever. The British Library from the outside reminds me of a factory. It's not very attractive at first glance and resembles a brick box, but inside it's quite nice. I recommend you go in. And we get into a courtyard with different installations. For example, here are some stones. You can see it, but there is a circle and another circle in the center. These are planets, and that's what it's called, planets. See? Well, apparently there's the sun and planets. By the way, all of these stones at the top, it can be seen from here, but it has human hands carved out on it, as if they are hugging the stone. So this is the courtyard, and the renovation work is currently underway, but you can sit here, there is a cafe and, of course, the library itself. Friends, I'm in the British Library, a temple of knowledge and the largest book repository in Europe. It houses manuscripts by Shakespeare and Jane Austen, letters by John Lydon, and even drafts of the song. Yesterday. It also has ancient manuscripts and 170 million unique books and artifacts. There are ancient scrolls that are over 2,000 years old. Every week, about 12,000 new books are delivered into the library. Even if you read one book a day, it would take 32 years to read everything that was delivered a week ago. If you want to read here, keep in mind that you're not allowed to whisper, "Quiet, quiet, quiet, shh." Everybody already knows that books love silence. Yes, and there's also the world's largest bookstore here. I went inside, they told me to put the camera away, so let's move on. The purpose of this trip is to understand how British education works. Why are British universities so influential? What is Oxbridge famous for, apart from the fact that they are old and prestigious to study at? We'll talk about leading British universities, historical discoveries, and unexpected facts, even with a little drama. So, was London lagging behind Oxford and Cambridge in education? I would say this: London did everything its own way, maybe without the robes or those philosophies under the apple trees, but with account books, hospital scalpels, and lectures in cafes. Let me tell you this, London was not a traditional academic city. It was a city of practitioners, merchants, craftsmen, lawyers, mathematicians, people who did not want to philosophize in temples before the image of St. Andrew, but to do business, to practice. At first, there were guilds and workshops in London. In the Middle Ages, guilds were something like trade unions. They were local mini-universities based on interests, where education was work and a diploma was awarded if you made 12 pairs of boots products, and they all fit the customers. For example, there was the Worshipful Company of Woolmen. Here they taught not only how to comb and sell wool, but also how to negotiate, calculate duties, and export to Belgium. In the 14th century, it was like MBA. They were also lawyer communities like Inns of Court. They functioned as law school. The students at that time were essentially trainees. They did not study with books but sat next to experienced lawyers and listened to real cases. No one issued formal diplomas, but in 1350, a London apprentice knew more about trade with the Hanseatic League, a merchant guild, than a Cambridge graduate. So, even though London did not have any universities, it was not lagging behind in terms of education. It was different. Then came the time for private schools and academies. You can get onto the main UCL campus now. Going through the gates, you need an entry card. They check if you have it. There are a huge line. I don't know what kind of checks these are and how long ago they started, because before you could just walk through. I'm walking from the main campus now. Everything along the road is the central campus. All these buildings along the road, well, not all, but many of them are UCL. The zoology and anatomy departments, and there are also museums here. I found a map. I'll show you how and explain how it works. UCL Bloomsbury campus, Torrington Place. Here's the campus. Here you can see from A to W. These all are buildings. This is the whole map. So lots of stuff. You know, I have this flashback. UCL Central Campus, it's like Columbia University, only British. Columbia also has the main campus in the center. They also don't let us in, like when Andre and I were there, they didn't let us into Columbia and we had to go to Princeton. There's also a church on the Central Campus nearby, just like in Columbia, and there's also all kinds of street food, grub near the university, everything you need. Over there, Indian street food, Mumbai mix, and so on. So it's action-packed. In the 16th century, London began to grow rapidly. Economy, trade, colonies, money. At the same time, people needed education, but not only the one at Oxford and Cambridge. Why quote Cicero when you need to do accounting, write business letters and trade in fabrics? This is how private schools appeared. There were many of them and they were very different. Many of you might have heard of the prestige of British schools. King's College, Westminster School, Rugby School, but have you heard of Merchants Taylor's School? It was founded in 1561 in London.
London? Yes, London.
It's a school run by the Tailors Guild. It taught future merchants, officials and sailors not only to sew but also to read, count, write in Latin and handle contracts. What's interesting here is not only the school itself but also its founder. And here some secrets will be revealed to you. Sir Thomas White, he was a cloth merchant. To give you an idea of cloth and fabric trade, in the Middle Ages this activity could include owning manufacturers, shops, and basically mean that you were super rich. And Sir Thomas was rich. For you to know, the famous Medici family, which controlled Florence for about 400 years, also traded in fabrics. And Sir Thomas was a Lord Mayor of London. Yes, the great and terrible city of London. In the 16th century, the city of London was one of the most important and influential economic and financial centers in Europe. During this period, its global influence grew significantly. The city represented not only the geographical area of central London, but also the economic and financial system, which played a key role in international trade and finance at the time. 16th century city of London consisted of several small streets and market squares located east of Westminster. The city was home to the largest commercial and financial institutions, different banks, insurance companies and entrepreneurs, as well as the most important state and private archives. The city had administrative independence from the rest of the city and was governed by a guild of merchants, very powerful traders and London corporations. Now that is why the city was an important political unit, and also it was home to the royal court, adding importance in the legal and financial fields. Sir Thomas White, who was also the mayor of this commercial powerhouse, founded St. John's College in Oxford in 1555. Today, St. John's College is the richest college at Oxford University. According to some estimates, it has about $1 billion in its bank account, but why did it strive to develop education, especially for the middle class? He was a supporter of educational reforms and paid great attention to training future merchants and specialists, which was extremely relevant to his business. But why did he need St. John's College in Oxford? After all, at that time, education was based on theology and Latin. There were religious and political circumstances at play here, so to say. In the 1550s, England was undergoing religious upheaval. Mary Tudor, the future Mary I, also known as Bloody Mary, was supported by the Roman Catholic Church. The founding of the college was linked to the support of Catholic interests in England, which at the same time was in transition from Protestantism to Catholicism. Mary I actively sought to restore Catholicism in England. Our man, Thomas White, actively supported Mary Tudor, which is important in the context of her being a Catholic and trying to restore Catholicism in England, fighting Protestant movements. At that time, Protestants, including senior church officials and educated people, defended the Reformation and Protestant principles, while Catholics sought to restore the old faith. If you want to buy a book in England, I recently filmed Waterstones in Oxford, and I highly recommend you visit this store, a bookstore. They're awesome, they have amazingly beautiful buildings, and here next to UCL is no exception. This is what the Waterstones building looks like here. They sell books there, there is a cafe, you can read there. It's like an English literary circle, let's put it this way. You just walk around the city and all the university buildings, squares, you see students everywhere, just young people. UCL also has this ambiguous building. Guess what faculty it is? This is Faculty of Education and Society. What an interesting mix it is. I walked away from the university a bit, from this Mumbai street food and queues again here. What are these queues? We're in the center, right in the center. This is the British Museum. There are museums everywhere, university museums, city museums, which may also have had some connection to universities. This is the British Museum, one of the most famous and largest museums in London, British Museum. I turned off Kingsway onto a quite a parallel street because it is very, very busy there and there are many people. In England, by the way, it's quite common to have basements just like this, which are kind of like underground, and also they have windows. So you go down the stairs here. See, there's this crate, and you go down the stairs, and you kind of have your own yard, but there's people walking above you. Oxford St. John's College became one of the places where Catholicism was supported in the midst of religious conflicts. Among other things, the college could serve as a platform for promoting Catholic ideas, especially when Protestant activity was strong in London and other cities where Protestantism was already developing. Catholic education could be part of the Roman Catholic Church efforts to restore its influence in England. Mary Tudor supported Catholicism and tried to bring it back to England after her father Henry VIII broke his ties with Rome and established the Anglican Church. As a Catholic, Mary was regarded by Rome as the legitimate heir and the only one capable of restoring Catholic traditions in England. Mary was married to Philip II of Spain from the Habsburg dynasty. Her marriage to Philip II was a political alliance that strengthened Catholic influence in Europe, especially in the context of conflict with Protestant states. Spain was one of the strongest Catholic kingdoms, and its support was extremely important to Mary, but many English people were against such an alliance, so as not to strengthen the influence of Spain in Catholic Church in England. In 1558, after the death of Mary Tudor, Elizabeth I ascended the throne. To finally return England to the Protestant faith, carry out reforms, put an end to the Catholic Church in England, establish the Anglican Church, and defeat the Spanish Armada in 1588. That was extremely important time in English history, a turning point truly. This is all LSE. This is LSE, and this is also LSE. London School of Economics. Actually, London School of Economics and Political Science. My friends would be very helpful here, one of whom is flying from America, I believe, tomorrow. His name is Andrew, and he's flying to the Chicago Marathon. And yeah, he graduated from the London School of Economics. So you're walking along a noisy street and see all these buildings around you, and there's the garden, a calm garden. It would seem why bother surrounding the garden with a fence like this, see? People who live here in this area in the center of London obviously were not poor people. And so this territory was bought out first by some person or several people, or by one person for several people. So these guys bought this they bought this land, surrounded it with a fence, and made a key. So only those who lived in these houses could walk in this garden. They bought this area, roughly speaking, a yard or a land, so they can walk on it. And the rest of you, please walk somewhere else.
La la la.
And almost on the doorstep of the LSE is King's College London, an equally significant educational institution and no less prestigious. There are always at the top Imperial, King's, the London School of Economics, UCL, and as soon as I leave the London School of Economics, I come across the buildings of King's, and there ahead of me I see the King's Language Center. Yes, it's difficult even for British people to get into these universities, let alone foreigners. Therefore, when you apply here, your language level must be at the highest level possible. And if you're interested in preparatory courses, admission, or children's camps, traveling abroad. We work with language centers, and of course, we also run our own camps. We ran our camps in the summer. We have 5 groups in England and also run camps in the winter as well. We plan group trips with our group leaders visiting Oxford and as well Cambridge. Last summer we went to London.